Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy, and tonight we're gonna ignore my fingernails. My paint, it needs to be fixed. I painted them this morning. This is beautiful red color with just a little bit of sparkle, and then I went and did dishes, and I forgot to put my clear coat on to protect the color coat. So yeah, they're a disaster, and I forgot to fix them, and now I'm looking at them like, sorry. Perhaps the painting I'm about to do will distract you from my fingernails. I bought at Hobby Lobby, they had these Master Touch, actually they have a bunch of Master Touch stuff, really fairly priced. A set of 5 of these watercolor canvas panels, 5x7. For $5. It was a 5-pack for $5, so like for $4.40, so like what with tax $5, right? 5-ish, so $1 a piece roughly. And I thought we would, and they're each individually wrapped in a little bit of plastic. So I just got these, and I thought we would go ahead and give them a try. Like, see, we're gonna do a misty forest painting today. I'm gonna use my this is Michael's craft store brand watercolor paints. I got this for Christmas, so I thought we would use this, give it a try. I did do a opening, unboxing, and swatching video for this. It's in the unbox and swatch playlist if you're interested. I think it's in my paint palettes and paint palettes, and I forget what the playlist is called. It's my paint palettes one. Just look up paint palettes or ARTIST'S LOFT and it'll pop right up. Or you can go to my playlist queue and peruse the different playlists that I have there. I try to have everything for the channel sorted out by, that's not gonna work out, I'm gonna ruin the board. Genre? Or medium, rather, sorry. So I have gouache, playlist, watercolors, mixed media. I put the oil pastel and chalk pastels all in one playlist. There we go. This has a bit of texture, which, I mean, is ideal. It does kind of feel like, kind of feels a little rougher than watercolor paper, but watercolor paper comes in different roughnesses as well. I don't care for rough watercolor paper. It's a little too textured for me for watercolor. So, yeah, I very rarely buy it or use it. This, I mean, it appears pretty smooth and matte, which is nice. Alright, enough talking. Let's paint. Let's see if this works the way I think I want it to. I'm going to use these paints, which I actually did not do a formal swatch, so that will be forthcoming, and I don't know if I'm going to film it or not, but I usually swatch them so that I know what I have in my palette as opposed to what it looks like I have, you know? At any rate, where did my spritzer go? Oh, it's over there. I'm a mess tonight. Sorry, you guys. So I'm gonna just, and these don't really need it, but it's become a habit to spritz my paints before I start. This, I mean, I might as well use it like I would watercolor paper, right? It's a board with watercolor ground, I would imagine, and the back is completely sealed. So, I mean, let's give it a whirl, right? Normally I'm going to work edge to edge just for fun. I don't normally do that on my watercolor papers because I like a border, but I feel like this would be really nice worked edge to edge. Let's grab the big boy. This is my Princeton Neptune round number 18. It's my wash brush. I imagine we don't really need it to be super wet, right? It can have just a bit of shine. Okay, that's all we need this for, really. Actually, we'll use it for getting down our base. Let's do, it's going to be a misty forest. I have several forest pictures up, but I would like the sky to be, I'd like there to be a bit of sky. Maybe ultramarine. I'm pretty sure that's ultramarine. It's hard to tell. One of these is, there it is, Prussian. This is the Prussian blue. So we're going to use lavender, which this one makes me think of dioxazine purple. I'm going to use that. I think this red. Yes, this red, which is the more rose red. See? Pretty. It'll go nice with these colors. Then a touch, I don't remember which ones, I think it's this one, is kind of a blue-gray for that misty dark color that I want. Yeah, okay. Come up here, and we'll just, ooh, that water is sitting right on top of there. Okay, we might have to dab this off, or have some fun with the drips. Look at that. I do like, alright, I could do an experimental piece later. I don't need to do an experimental piece now, right? Right? Like that. This is going to be way too much water. Let me get my dab. This is my favorite brush for painting trees. It is a wedge brush. I wish I had it in different sizes, but I don't. I'm going to grab some pure color and really drop it on there. That does. Are you gonna drip or no? Grab some of that gray. Maybe it's a nighttime, mid or early morning, just before the sun's starts to peek out. Full force. That misty part of the day up in the mountains. Alright. Okay. Now, oh, we're going to be making a big mess. I need a more absorbent rag, so let's grab this guy. Because this water is not, it's not going to work like watercolor paper does. It's not going to absorb like watercolor paper will and does. The water is sitting right on top. So we'll work a little differently. I have oil pastel down here. My granddaughter and I were using my Mungio kid-safe oil pastels earlier. My granddaughter loves to come back here and draw and paint with Nana. Okay, so maybe we will do this sap green as well, right? Do a little sap green, mix it with that blue-gray color, put in a little bit of the Prussian to give us a nice blue-green, right? Anybody else digging my color mixing situation over here? And then generally, you would work down the page as though you had a tiered thing going on, but since this sits right on the surface, we might not be able to get that exact effect. So let's put down our first misty bottomed. So the trick is, put your trees in, your basic shapes, let it mist out, especially your first set. Let it and mist and look very washed out in the background, right? Add a little more water to that. Drag it down. And then you can make this as tall or as not tall as you want it to be. I appear to be doing this V thing, unintentional, but there it is. Now take your water, and since this is pretty, I'll just kind of give it a pull down towards the bottom of the page, like that. Now you can let this dry completely and come back with another layer. I am impatient. I don't want to. So, decision. I wonder if taking the heat tool to this will make it that is way too wet. So I just picked all that right up. That's way too much water over there. Kind of wanted to do different colors in here and I totally forgot. But that's too much water. There we go. A little thicker. Just a little thicker. Grab some pink. And this is just for me, for fun. I'm just practicing on this board to see what it can and can't take. I'm digging the green purple. Digging it. Like that. So wet. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to work quite this wet on this paper. This board. It's not a paper. It's not even acting like paper at all. So, watercolor board does not equal watercolor paper. Alright, so let's, because this is supposed to be fairly misty back here, I'm going to go ahead and, like, it's supposed to be light and the lightest of the layers. I'm going to go ahead and dab up some of that water. I'm going to hit it with a heat tool and see how that affects this, if it makes the glue pop this off or not. That'd be interesting. Yeah, let's find out. Okay, we got some interesting textures and the paint smoothed right out, which I kind of dig that effect. I mean, it's pretty, right? So we're definitely not going to be able to use a lot of water. Let's do our next little bunch of trees. Yeah, we're not going to be able to use a lot of water. And yeah, see, if I put down a lot of water like that, it's going to take years to dry. Years and years. Oh, exaggerate much? Indeed I do. Let's grab some of that green and mix that over here. Make this a little more inky. Grab that Prussian, put it right there. So up here is a little more inky consistency. Let's grab a little green purple and drop it in. Like that. It's okay to overlap your stuff. I'll just leave that background because this is just experimenting. Right now we're just experimenting with what will happen on this board if I do this or that, if we go this direction, or that direction. A little more ink on that one, and that one. And if we add water, will it mist down? It will. Ooh, that picks up like almost right away. Ooh. Can I soften that hard edge? Yeah, for the most part I can. Clean that brush. Go ahead and... The general rule when you're doing something like this is to bring it all the way down to the bottom, but taking into consideration that we can't work too wet into wet, don't want to get too carried away with that. Maybe it's a whimsical forest from another land. Okay. Way too much water. Pick that back up. The trees are all different kinds of colors. Okay, let's go over here. Get him just a few little more prominent marks like that. That's pretty. Okay. So this kind of experimentation for me is super fun. I am personally having a blast. Prussian and green. Let's do that. I'll put in another section of trees over here, coming down the hillside right through here. That. Let's grab some of that purple, muddy that up a bit. That. Do a couple taller trees in there. Okay, this white spot I'm going to leave all misty like that. I kind of dig it. And then maybe with the wash brush, not too wet, we can do a little dab and kind of get this to flow a bit there and pull it down, maybe over a bit, and create that misty effect. See if that works. Okay. And come down here, maybe right about here. Put in a nice big tree right there. Add some purple. Maybe add a bit of pink as well. Yeah, take that. That looks neat. Well, if this is not your thing, then, you know, use traditional colors. By all means. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm playing. I am playing, you guys. This is me goofing around with color and paint, seeing what will happen. And this paint is really nice, by the way. This ARTIST'S LOFT kit that I got. So I'm digging it for sure. Let's put some blue in there. Yeah, different groves of trees going on in our little make-believe land we have going on here. Maybe another tall guy right through here. Maybe there's a couple living next to each other. Couple friends. Bob Ross is in my head right now. Which is not a bad thing. Just unexpected sometimes. Bob, what are you doing, man? So we got that level there. And you can bring it up if you want to. If you feel like there's too much space, you can add another tree. You can make it more full like that. There's a bit of a glare, sorry. And then we'll take and just kind of soften that bottom edge. Clean our brush. Clean our brush again. And kind of just let it come down the page. Let it bleed, let it do what it wants. Because this is not acting anything like I was expecting it to. At all. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's super pretty. Let's Speaking of pretty, let's go ahead and grab it. Oh, I kind of love that. I'm going to leave that alone. Go ahead and put in the green dude coming down right through here. Got a couple. I feel like green is just not the right color for this painting. We do have some green up there, but we might go over the top of it. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Some misting out and fuzzing. I'm kind of digging that fuzzing out texture. Put that in there. It's way too much water. Getting carried away. Getting carried away. Let's put some purple in there. Where's my purple? It's right here. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in now that I have a new battery in, just so you can see better what I'm doing. I think I'm not really going to be able to do a wet and wet. Maybe wet and wet is not the kind of thing to do with this kind of board. Beauty of something like this kind of board, is that you can, and I encourage you to, gesso over it. You can paint gouache right over the top of it to do a whole nother painting on top of it, which would be super fun. Yeah, you can do a lot of different things with your medium, your board, if you don't care for the painting you're doing. Like, this is not my best painting ever, right? Not by a long shot. But it's fun, right? A little weird. This looks neat. And painting wet on wet seems to be problematic, and using way too much water seems to be super problematic. You know what I could be using is this cat's tongue brush. It said it was a watercolor board, so I figured maybe it'll work like a watercolor board then. Clearly I was wrong. I mean, clearly. Super wrong. But I won't know if I don't try. So here I am, giving it a whirl, playing with new paints, getting some textures on the board, digging this green color a lot. And generally when I'm playing like this, I think I might have said it already, I'm listening to a book or a YouTube channel or you know, I'm not really talking through it. I'm just experimenting and playing and see what will happen on the surface or with the new paint. I'm not usually chitter-chattering through it all, you know. Let's put in a nice big blue. Let's put a nice big blue tree right here. Blue-green situation. And this is a cat's tongue faux squirrel Zen Art 3/4 inch paintbrush, which is giving us these textures. And you can maybe we'll wet that, grab some green and just go back up and dab through, let it mill about. Oh, it's thicker so it doesn't want to move around as much. Which is fine. It's just fine, you don't have to. Nobody said you had to. But I thought maybe this brush would A, fill in faster, and B, give me a more pine tree kind of feeling. You know, one of those spruce trees, is that what they are? Blue spruce. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll just bring her all the way down to the bottom of the page, like so. Yeah. Flip the brush the other way. Kind of dig it. I mean, my tree's a little lopsided, but that's alright. Nobody said I'd love it. Run off the page, maybe. Like that. Does that feel right? I don't know. I feel like it took over the whole painting. That's alright. It's okay. Nobody panic. So, my instinct is to just splatter this with a lot of water and let that move around and then go over the top of it with a different medium. I feel like it's more of a mixed medium board than a watercolor board as marketed, right? They marketed it as a watercolor board. So what's going on? I would not categorize this as a watercolor board because traditional watercolor techniques are not, clearly not really all that great on here. Let's grab some of this dark, plop that in here. I feel like it would be more silhouetted. Pepe Le Pew's in my head now. He was an inappropriate character. Oh, when I was a kid though, he was one of my favorites. That poor cat. But I love you. Pepe Le Pew, y'all. Craziness. Let's let it drip around a bit. It does drip nice, so you could get some really cool, like, textures to work with, right? Like any canvas that you want. I got bubbles in my paint. It's alright, we'll let it be. We're not gonna stress it. We're not stressing it. I'm fully aware that this is a crap painting, y'all. No worries there. But once we get to this point, it's either keep going and try to finish what you started, or do what my instincts are telling me to do and just scrap it. Scrap it, just scrap it and start making a background for potential drawing. Because clearly this wet into wet technique that I wanted to work on did not work. This looks cool up here, that smoothness. I dig that. What do you think we should do? Do you think we should mess it up? I think we should. Alright, you know, I'm going to take a picture of this. Can I take a picture while I'm filming? I cannot. Hold on. Okay. I took a picture of it at this stage. So now we're just going to spritz the whole thing and see what happens. Is it going to pick up that smooth sky? It is, yep. Picked it right up. Look how, now watch. I'm going to tip it this way because that green's going to go crazy. Maybe we'll just put this down over here. So it's gonna drip a lot. I have a feeling. And we'll just give it a little tipsy tip. Look at that. It didn't pick up a lot of the color up there, like, oh, there it goes, like I thought it would. Alright. I think that purple stained in there, which is totally fine. Let's tip it back the other way. Oh, that's fun. That is fun. I'm creating this weird glaze of filmy color over the top. I wonder how that will dry if I just leave it alone. Got a dry spot right there. Or if it will dry, you know? I mean, sure it will, right? I want to put in more of that blue down here now. It's ultramarine and Prussian that I mixed together. And I'm really liking the texture of it up there. So maybe we'll bring it together. Bring you together. Put some through here. Got that firm line right there that happened too. So we can leave it like this and let it dry because it looks kind of cool, I think. It's glaring a lot for you guys though. Let's see. There we go. That's a little less glary. It's making my colors shift around though. Oh my god, that looks so fun. Isn't that fun? Alright, you know what? I kind of like that it looks like a dark forest right now. Right? I think I'm going to let it dry as is. If I put too much thought into it, it might ruin the cool effect that I have mistakenly got. The purple kind of stained, that magenta color stained, and the dioxazine where it settled, it really stained in there really well, really well. Some of the green, that yellow green, the sky, also stained really well. I like grabbed onto that paper and Yeah. What do you think? Should we let it dry? Other option, now that it's all misty, is to sop up some of that water. Just gently pat down. Which is what I was wondering, like how much is going to pick up off the board with a gentle, just a gentle soaking of water. Oh, that kind of picked up almost all the pigment. You can see where it's stained. It's stained kind of a lot in different areas. Intriguing. Let's hit it with the heat tool. It takes hardly any time to dry. That was roughly 45 seconds of dry time. I mean, I could probably... And it's not coming up off the board. The paper. It's not like the glue, whatever they adhere the paper to the board with. It's not coming up, so that's cool. This looks like a nice underpainting for a pastel piece, doesn't it? Intriguing. So, my thought was to take another one. See, now I started and I'm not going to be able to stop. And see if we can do a cool, like, sunset strip over water, that kind of thing. Let's try it real quick, and if I don't like it, we'll just stop here. And this will be today's watercolor experimentation. And I'll decide tomorrow if I want to try to continue to watercolor on this. Maybe letting it sit for the night will help the colors settle into the page because it's warm, right? It's still not quite dry right there. Let's do that. Let's see if this one will settle in. And we'll do one more kind of watercolor or sunset water situation, because that'll only take a jiffy to do. And since we already know wet into wet is kind of problematic, instead of wetting the whole thing, we can wet, I'm going to set this guy aside, we can wet like we can wet the whole thing, just not as much, gentle mist. Okay, and then take a clean paintbrush. This is my Neptune round number 8. Yes. Sunset. Let's start with the light of the yellow, right? Okay. Just kind of throw it down like that. Okay. Oops, sorry. Fell a little bit out of frame. Now, I want to do some of this golden orangey color here, kind of along the edges, here, kind of like that, and grab actual orange. That in. I like the textures that you're getting, that I'm getting. I'm digging the textures for sure. Kind of cool. All right. And I don't really care for this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and blot some of this up through here. I want it to be a little softer. Okay. We need a hot spot where the sun is. Call that right there. That's our hot spot for where our sun is. And the water as well. Alright, and now this isn't going to be the right blue, is it? Nope, that's a green blue. I don't want that. What's this one? That one might work. Soft, 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 soft. It's too vibrant. Add a little bit of gray or neutral tint. See how it kind of calms it down a little. Bit of water. Kind of push it this way. We'll give it this. You can push the paint around on the surface nicely, which is interesting. Just kind of gently let this. Now if I let this mix here, it's going to turn green. And I don't want that, so I'm going to leave it like that. A little more of our gray. Yeah. Come in here and get some little bits of cloud going on. And I'm just dropping it on and seeing what happens. I'm not really expecting a lot here. A little more gray, pure pigment. Just dab it in. Too much water. I might regret that, but I'm gonna leave it alone, let it do what it wants to do over here. Like that. That looks kind of cool. Maybe put some up there. Little dabs of that. Okay. Kind of liking that, how that looks. Alright. Since we did that up there, we kind of got to do it down here in the water. No, what blue did I grab? This one? Yes. I'm going to kind of do the same thing down here in our water, but not so much, you know? It can be a little dry brushy like that. If you hear my granddaughter, she's just fussing. She didn't get a nap today, so she's probably not gonna sleep all that well tonight, which was a little disappointing. Horizon. I want to go gray with that. Get that. Generally, I would do this pretty close to first. Do that. And then let's see. I've got a hair on there. We try to wait for her to find her way to settle herself at night, because most of the time she does. She finds her blanket and she settles herself back down. Most of the time, not all of the time. Another thing, Mama's boyfriend's over tonight, so instincts, you know, kid instincts take over sometimes. Do a little bit of that. And I honestly did try to wait until she was going to be completely asleep before I started painting tonight. Didn't work out, did it? Direction matters, so putting in the lines going this direction will help give the illusion or feeling of water. A little bit of dry brushing also helps with that. Don't get too dark. Don't want to get too dark. Come in here and move this around a bit. Put a little more gray through here, like that. Just let it feel ripply. Letting the brush dance around on the page, create these calm areas. Okay, there we go. And I'll come over here and get in just a little soft, a little bit of softness through here. So if you're not overly picky with it, it is creating a lot of granulation, which I'm not usually thrilled with for this kind of painting. Get out of the frame again. But that's alright. It's okay. Just let it be what it is. I mean, it's part of the experimentation process, right? See how wet that still is up there? I have a lot of time to play with the wet water. Don't know if I like that or not. You know what will flatten this? The heat tool. It'll probably flatten it right out. Just graze this in. Graze that in, that color. I don't want to wipe it out. I do want to tone it down a little bit though. There we go. I'm not going to fuss with that too much. I did lose my hot spot for my son though. It's right here. Picks up really nicely. It picks up really nicely. Which is awesome. A reflection. There we go. Cool. Okay. Let's heat tool it real quick. Oops. I'm hoping it'll flatten out the color and make it smooth looking. Kind of did. It kind of smoothed out and flattened and created crazy cloud textures, which is great. I dig it. I'm digging it. Alright, let's go in and put in our, with a very inky consistency, our, I'm going to do Prussian and gray mixed together for my dark color. And we kind of have a little tree situation right here. Do a little bit of that, some speckling in. And then I guess it would be mirrored right here, right? Create that little bit of line. That's kind of doing this number. It's alright. It's not great, but it's alright. And we have some other distance stuff happening. I'm trying to pull down here what I'm doing up there. The water's calm in the reference photo, rippling gently, but calm, smooth. So you would see a pretty decent reflection, top to bottom. Like that. Let me get a little smaller as we get out here. There's a bit of land back there. There's a bit of land right here. Like a bit of, what do you call it? Sand right there in the water. The water's a little more shallow there. Okay. Then we can add just a touch of water, just a touch to soften this. Come out here and give a little bitty mountain. Or island or whatever. Something going on back here. Doesn't need to be beautiful or perfect. To about there. Like that, in the distance, in the distance. Okay, let's clean that brush. Don't want it completely clean, because I do want to come in here. And get the shadow in. It's not perfectly reflected back here. So I'm just going to give us the gist. Just the gist. Mostly dry brush for this little drag that I want to do. Just a little drag. That. Huh. This is coming out pretty nice, actually. push that back like that. Give this one a little graze. I don't want to mess with that too much. I kind of like this the way it is. We'll leave this alone tonight and come back to it with fresh eyes tomorrow as well. So we have this, which could be a really beautiful base for a pastel piece, which I'm thinking I might do that with this one. And then this also looks like a pastel piece, or could be accented with pastels or colored pencil. These boards, definitely would not call them watercolor boards by any stretch of the imagination for me. They're not absorbent at all. It just feels like a textured canvas. So these are probably going to become mixed media boards for me, which is totally okay. Let me know what you think. Like, what do you think in the comments below? Do you have you worked on these? Do you have techniques that work for you for watercolor specifically? Or do you do mixed media on these, or do you just typically use art boards for gouache or acrylic or oil, which is typical. I don't usually buy panels or canvases for watercolor because I know what my watercolor will do on paper, and I love that. Thought this would be a fun experiment though. Once again, let me know in the comments below what you liked. I'm going to stop here and come back to this tomorrow and kind of recap, I think. But for right now, I like this the way it is. You can see that the heat tool really smoothed that paint out and made the clouds kind of, I mean, you can get some really cool textures. And once again, this could be a really nice underpainting for a finished pastel or colored pencil even. But maybe we'll try some colored pencil on this tomorrow and see what happens. Because I feel like this one's pretty nice. I honestly feel like this one's pretty nice as is. For a practice piece, it's not bad sunset piece. Not unhappy with it. This one, I mean, I was just being silly and playing around, but definitely cool effects, right? Yeah. Alright, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you guys either later or in the next video. Bye!